Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Come on, come on, come on. How you want it, cognac or Patron? Brunch with the boys, we gon' give you what you want. And what you don't know, we about to put you on. Come on, come on, come on. How you want it, cognac or Patron? Brunch with the boys, we gon' give you what you want. And what you don't know, we about to put you on. Yes, we are the trending topic. Good relationship profits. Brunch with the boys, we the hottest. Brunch with the boys, we the hottest.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy King Jezzy here. Another episode of Brunch with the Boys. We have a special guest this evening, but first, what's going on, gentlemen?
Jezzy, what's good, everybody?
Hey, it's Mr. Gent out here. Salute. Okay, turn up.
Yeah. I don't know if Dad's got a drink over there, but I'm sure he on it.
I don't know, because when Dad start drinking, dog,
Oh,
he start
okay.
feeling on himself. That's what I'm saying. He start touching his nipples and stuff, so we really want him to have water on him. That's what it is, dog. That's just what it is.
So we got a special guest with us, Des. We got Morgan the MILF.
Morgan.
Yes.
Milk.
Oh no,
So kind of like
thinking about
like
porn.
Megan the Stallion, kind of that feel. You
No.
know
Nastier. You know what I mean?
No, that's not nastier.
No, not nastier. Okay, we'll talk about that another episode. What we want to get into today is cheating. You know, and we're always talking about cheating from a man's aspect. Come on, we've discussed that in detail. We want to get in the mind of a woman and talk to her about cheating, why she's cheated, what got her in that situation, etc., and really discuss some of the reasons that psychologists say women do cheat. So let's get right into it. The first way that came up to me was feeling underappreciated or ignored, and basically validation for who they are versus the services they perform. So a woman wants to feel alive and feel good and not feel like, you know, your dishwasher and your maid.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want to ask Morgan the MILF, and I love saying that name because I'm getting horny. How do you feel about that reason? Underappreciated. Was that maybe a reason that led you to infidelity? Maybe we should just ask you what led you there.
Right. So there is a whole list of events that happened. And it wasn't just one thing. Well, it's a lie. It was one thing. But to be honest, it was one person, one thing, one situation. But really, you're right. Just not feeling appreciated, not getting enough of attention. You know, just the things that you used to do, you don't do anymore. And then you stacked on top of that, you know, you're starting a new business, you're buying a house, you have children, they have issues. And then it's like, if you're not happy, you're just not happy. So when you have someone who may be whispering in your ear, that's all it takes sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's easy to point blame, you know, and we're gonna, you know, I don't hold any punches. I think you know that. It's easy to point blame. Was there anywhere in the relationship or things that you could have been doing differently? Or was this nigga really that much at fault?
Me and my husband, my ex, rather, we have age difference of 17 years. So I think with that mindset, to me, I was always put on a pedestal for the first X amount of years. And then we started having children and things changed. So I'm not saying that he is all to blame. But if we had to give out some numbers, I'm like 80-20, you know, like, I feel like I did everything that I possibly could have.
You know, to be honest with you, I think that's almost like the normal rut. Everyone kind of talk about, especially in marriage, you got that, you know, that 7-year rut. Some people will say 5 years, but everyone gets this point of complacency. And I can understand why people be tripping off of complacency, because at the end of the day, when you're starting to do the same old routine, it becomes mundane, and then at some point it's just a routine, and then the routine ain't shit to talk about, man. How do you enjoy life if you're doing the same things over and over? I mean, that's the excitement, is variety.
Is that what this is, though, Des? Is that what that is? Boredom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think boredom for sure, to speak generally, but I think monotony is another word to use, right? And to Gent's point, anything you do day after day the same fucking way for years and years becomes mundane, it becomes monotonous. And I think human beings are made to embrace challenges, right? To push themselves, to do things differently. And so I think anytime that you're in a relationship that mitigates how often you're able to do that, then the byproduct of that almost inevitably is boredom and a longing for spontaneity, which oftentimes kind of leaves long-term relationships, you know?
One of the things you said, Morgan, to me that stood out was that the age difference in your relationship, he put you on this pedestal. Do you think that was a major factor in getting with him, feeling that, you know, he was going to glorify you and really praise you in that way where, you know, because I'm an attention whore. I know that about my son. I see him all the time. And if someone's getting any shine, this little nigga jumps in and he just starts putting on a show, dancing. He can't dance worth shit. So I know people who crave attention. And I think sometimes, you know, even in the past, I've dealt with chicks that, and Des, we talked about this before, dealt with chicks. And I think you too, Gent, where you really wouldn't catch yourself dealing with her on a regular basis, but out of boredom, you catch yourself in that situation. So I wonder that.
I mean, I can hear that too.
And Morgan the Milk, can you tell us what the age difference is, just out of curiosity?
She said 17.
So I am 32. I'm not at that age where I don't tell people my age. And he is 50 this year in August. So
okay, he got game. He got swag to pull that off.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, that's my thing. You know, I've always dated people who this is probably gonna be really shallow, but I've always dated people who I felt like, you know, I would be their pretty young thing. Like, you know, they would just really be more appreciative of me. I'm just saying.
I'm feeling that. And I think that's true. No, Des, you reacted the same way I did. I smiled like, yeah, I kind of like that. That my pretty young thing.
That's smart.
PYT.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, I feel like if I'm dating someone who we're closer in age, there's just, I don't know, I feel like there's just more of a competition there. But when I'm dating someone who's older, who's thrilled to have someone who's so much younger, I don't know. I like that. So I've always dated someone older than me.
One of the things that was on the list was feeling overwhelmed by the needs of others, your kids, what your husband expects of you. I don't know how the work-life balance is as far as who's a breadwinner or, you know, however you handle the logistics at home. But what I want to know is, did you cheat because of a combination of these things, or was it one thing in particular that you were lacking and you went to seek it? You know what I mean? Because I think sometimes we all cheat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like it was a combination of things. But just to be honest, you know, I work in an industry. I work in the healthcare field. So you have to understand that we have servicemen from, you know, our police officers, our firefighters who are in their best shape and who had been around me for a really long time, that I had been on my best behavior.
Why you start smiling like that, girl? God damn, pussy got wet right there, Dad. You see it? God damn. Why she started smiling like that, Jet? God damn.
I'm just saying, you know, and so for me to have been good for so long, it was just one situation where it was just like, you know what? I'm out. I'm done. I'm not doing this. I'm out. So
Paul said if you cheat twice a year, was it Des 4 times a year? That's 98% faithful or some shit like that.
You are
to be honest, it's crazy because we had a conversation where he was willing to look the other way for me. He's like, listen, I love you so much. I'm willing to look the other way. But unfortunately, that didn't come to terms. That didn't happen. Yeah. He wasn't able to look the other way. So
could you respect a man that would say that? How did you look at him to that?
Yes.
So you didn't
because for him, for him, I feel like he understood. Listen, I'm at a certain age. I may not be able to perform the way I used to, or the way you need me to. You need something that I obviously can't give you, and if it's going to keep you here with me, with our kids, like I felt like, all right, cool. You understand what it is that I need, and you're going to give me that. Because sometimes in a relationship, it's like I can't give you something that you physically need. That's like me withholding sex from someone.
That nigga gave up. Gave up.
Listen, let me tell you something. That's the most unnatural shit I've ever heard in my life. Let me tell you something. You go to you show me any other species of creature on God's green earth where a male procures his female and lets another nigga come in for shits and giggles. We're not doing that. I'm not looking the other way. I'm gonna kill his ass, and we gonna have a talk. So,
and that's what happened. To be honest, he legit just couldn't. It was too much for him. But explain to me though. I mean, I'm not saying that any of you have cheated, but explain to me how you guys feel about you cheating at versus males versus us females, because that kills me. It absolutely kills me how you guys get away with it, and it's like it's so taboo to us.
Let me just tell you, to be honest with you, if you said 50, 60 years ago that do men and women cheat for different reasons, I would say absolutely. But these time and days, I believe that thing has completely narrowed down. I think at the end of the day, people are cheating for a number of reasons, and they're much more aligned, whether it's man and woman. So I don't think it's much easier these days. I don't think it's much easier for men than it is for women. I just honestly think that you guys are better at concealing it versus us. And that's the only difference. But outside of that, there's no other differences.
Well, that's only because a man will accept any contract as long as pussy is involved. So if you tell me you're gonna get stable pussy and I just have to be quiet and answer when you call, I mean, he's probably gonna say yes, whereas a woman tends to rock the boat a bit more. But Des, answer her question, because I'm not sure Gent really touched to it as far as why men are given a pass, whereas women are looked down upon about their cheating.
Well, two things. I mean, I think so I agree with you. I think from a society perspective that happens, right? And I think, so for me, there is no difference, right? Like, I don't know that women shouldn't cheat any more than men, but I can tell you that I think men are, what I would say is just traditionally, women are supposed to have a man that they are with and provide and bear children. I know I'm getting real Neanderthal, but I'm getting real kind of basic here, right? A man that they're with, they make sure that he's taken care of, and they have his children, and that is their lot in life, right?
And that's the point, that they're taken care of. So for us and our needs, so like you have to understand, so when you have someone who's in their 20s and when they get to their 30s, which is more closer to their sexual prime, and you're going down that sexual prime, it's like, listen, somebody's needs aren't being met.
So we never discussed that early in the relationship. When you get with a man 17 years older, you can't think the dick is gonna stay.
I was 22. I was young and dumb. I never thought I was gonna get this hot. Like, let me let you know right now, I am hot. Morgan is hot and she's on fire. She wants it at least a couple times a day if she can get it. But I'm just saying, at 22, I didn't think that. I was naive. I was like, oh, he's really good. Now we're gonna be able to do this. And to be honest, it wasn't.
Do you think this is your sex drive, or do you think it's just you being underfucked for so long?
It could be a number of things, but I'm pretty sure it's my sex drive has gotten stronger. Because my thing was like, I was willing to whatever we needed to do to spice things up, to try to help him out. But when it became a conversation of, I can't do this for you because you're in my head. You're in my head, and it's your fault that I can't do what you need me to do. So when that became the issue, I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm out. That's it.
But see, we talked about this at one point. I mean, ego is so important to a man. I don't care whether you're 19 years old or you're 60. Ego is the root of a man's his whole well-being.
His erection.
His erection, his stamina, all that is related to that. So I'm trying to ask you, what did you do, or what did you not do to ensure that his ego was intact the entire time so that you could flourish the way you wanted to?
I feel like I broke his ego, and that was the problem.
How'd you do it?
You know how, nigga. You know how. You ever been?
That means she was complaining every time something didn't go right, and then making him feel like shit every time something didn't go right.
I feel like the way I complained at the time that I complained probably wasn't the best idea.
Yeah.
And the way I did it and how I did it, and I feel like ever since then, there's just it just became a mess, like a complete mess. So
I love that you can own it though. You know, that's real shit. I like people who can admit when they're wrong, because we all fuck up. You know, just because I didn't make the same mistake you did doesn't mean I'm not capable of a mistake equally as bad. So I like that you admitted to that, because I've fucked up in situations as well. You know what I mean? And you fucked up. If you tear a man down while he's inside of you and he gets soft, that dick may never get hard for you again.
Yeah.
Shit. You just threw a dick out the window in the trash can, because that shit useless at this point.
Yep.
Man.
No sex therapist can fix that.
So it sounds like there wasn't a lack of intimacy. You and him had an open dialogue as far as what you needed and what he wasn't giving. Was he getting everything he needed?
I'm not sure, because if he wasn't getting it for me.
Oh, so you weren't having sex with him at all?
Not saying that at all, but at a certain point, it became an issue it just became an issue eventually. Because once you have such ugly fights, when you start fighting and you start being verbal and you start to being broken down both ways, it's like there's no point. No one's having fun here.
But Jezzy, you made a good point, and so I want to make sure we don't like go past that point. And so, you know, I posed the question to Des, like, how important is intimacy to a woman, to the point where if she is not getting that, and that is on the other spectrum of fucking or having sex or whatever the case may be, how important do you think intimacy is, and why do you think it's so much more important, Des?
I mean, I think that's subjective. I think it's relative. I think, without getting overly complicated, you gotta know your woman. And like, if we're being neutral, you gotta know your mate and the person that you're in a relationship with, right? Because, you know, men and women aren't monolithic, right? It's not an all men like this and all women like this, right? People are so different, and your life experiences shape you, right? So there are some men who want their dick sucked every day, right? And there's other dudes that are like, yeah, you can save all that bullshit. I'm trying to fuck something, right? So, and I know that's pretty straightforward, but that's how different men can be, right?
You want if you got some good head ever, you want some head, but I digress. Go ahead.
Continue on, Des.
I don't know. I'd argue on that. But my point is that
you would.
Huh?
I got lost.
You
I
know,
totally got lost. Sorry.
And you know we always go off topic, but you know you got good pussy, and you know this chick has good head. You would prefer the pussy every time and not really take advantage of the head? I mean,
I'm not saying that. I thought you said if you got to choose between, you're always going to take the head, and I just had to disagree with that. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't do anything 100% of the time.
That's true. I agree.
Yeah.
You know, I hear fucking. I got to talk about it. But no, I think intimacy is important on both ends. But it sounds like you weren't really lacking intimacy, Morgan, and you were more lacking sex or quality sex.
You know, I feel like once I started down that path, it was more of just the attention, the flirting, all that stuff that you would normally have in the beginning of a relationship. That's all fresh and new, makes you feel all giddy. Yeah. All that played a big part in it too. It was just more of, you know, feeling good about Morgan was the issue.
Yeah. I feel. I think it gets a little, you know, because I can get that. Sometimes the attention, and I think a lot of men do shit like that. They cheat and they flirt and they never intend to take it any further. And I think you can't get caught up in just the fun and the game and the chase. And you want to say it's harmless, but it's fucking cheating. You know what I mean?
But to me, there's a difference between checking if you know your desirability and getting the heat check, and you may not be feeling sexually wanted in the same way, But it seems like if he's giving you everything else under the sun, like at the end of the day, this could be an area where you guys are gonna have to get creative. But I don't know if cheating needs to absolutely have to happen, but I get it because
right. I mean, and even so, I don't feel like cheating has to happen, but at the same time too, you know, sex is so important in a relationship. It is. And if you have a problem that can't be fixed, it's probably not going to
sexually
and if it does, go ahead.
Were you sexually compatible with him?
Oh no, we have 3 children together. No. Mm-mm.
That means you're not sexually compatible?
No, we were sexually compatible. We had 3 kids together.
Okay. So
we were fine until, you know, other things came into play.
One could say you're being a little selfish, girl. Let's keep it real.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Listen, his family thinks it.
Yeah.
Half my family think it. They're like, oh my gosh, he's giving you everything you wanted. But at the same time, too, when you, you know, there's just so much more to play. So when you have insecurities, when insecurities start and then the insecurities can't ever stop, you know, you have to be checked. Like, where are you going? Who are you talking to? Going through your phone, going through your email. They're looking for things. And when you go looking for things, you're going to find shit. Yeah. You're going to find shit, you know, and, you know, when it becomes an issue of, you know, now you have an assault charge because you're that insecure.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. Like, I got to get my 12 gauge out. Like, no, this ain't going to work out.
But Des, we talked about this in the power of the eggplant or the power of the D episode, man, how important sex is to a woman. So I'm not surprised, and we debated whether women were more, you know, sexual than men. And at the end of the day, I think, like Des always says, it really depends on the person.
It does.
But if you're that person, then it's gonna be primary. It's not gonna be tertiary. It's gonna so understand if that's the most important mountain to climb, and you every time you try to climb the mountain, you slip down right into the valley, then shit, you got to go find someone who's gonna help you climb, baby, to that climax. You know what I'm saying? To the apex. You know what I'm saying?
Des, would you say that Buddy he was taking a risk, a calculated risk that just backfired on him? When you date that much.
Yeah, because he totally thought he was gonna be able to mold this 22 pretty young thing and have her how he wanted her, have her to do what she wanted, and then she became an adult, and it's like, oh no, I don't think like that. Nope, I don't like that. Nope, I changed. Nope, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he was able to keep up. I think that was the problem. He wasn't able to keep up.
So what do you think, Des? You think he set himself up for failure?
Yeah, I think you set yourself up for failure if that is one of the primary things in your relationship. What I mean by that is if you got with a motherfucker because you really, really enjoy being active. So y'all were doing CrossFit and y'all were traveling and y'all were biking all over the world and y'all were doing shit like that. And y'all had sex and the sex got to a point where it wasn't always what you wanted it to be. I think you can work through that sometimes. But I think if sex is a larger part of your relationship, so instead of being 20% of your relationship, it's 35 or 35% of your relationship,
or 60,
then your ability to deal with any kind of changes in how consistent or the quality of sex is going to be exponentially, greater when it's a larger percentage of your relationship. So I definitely think he was taking a risk. And I mean, personally, at 17 years old, we talked about this, fellas. At that age, I'm not even talking to no 22-year-old person. Like, we ain't got nothing in common. Like, what we gonna talk about? So I agree with our guest when she talks about the fact that he thought he was gonna mold her, and that shit ain't work out, did it?
I think his bigger risk was saying sexually they were gonna be on the same page. By doing that, again, now you're in your sexual peak. This nigga's on the decline. He should have stayed about 10 years closer, and that hoe would have been a lot more agreeable. Because guess what? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's where he set himself up. He let his dick write a check that let his hand write a check to dick her cat.
But you know what though? I don't agree with that. Because I think it's like, if we keeping it real, there's niggas that's 50 out here that's fucking like they 30, and there's niggas out here that's 35 who ain't got a woman off in 10 years. So
maybe
like that, your shit ain't good because you're young, right? So like you gotta be good at what you do, and yeah, I don't know that your age determines that. I don't think at 50 I'm gonna be one of these lame duck ass niggas out here. So
You
you
know.
know,
And
So what
also,
happens?
go ahead.
What happens if a health situation comes into play, like you become a diabetic or other things come into play, and those things affect that?
yeah, those things are outside of your control, right? I mean, like I think my opinion is based on the things you can control, right? If I get hit by a car and now I can't feel the lower half of my body, well, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do nothing for it.
But
You know.
what about those
So
though?
so what happens then?
Yeah.
So what happens in terms of you pleasing her? What happens then?
So you got to get, Jen touched on it earlier. You got to get creative, right? And I think the person who you're attempting to please, that woman, has to be open to the fact that you ain't gonna get this traditional dick, right? We're gonna have a very active sexual relationship, but you're not gonna get it how you thought you was gonna get it when we got together. And here's the thing: if your love for that person is so deep and it is so complex that is but a portion of your overall relationship, then that's
It's
something.
a big portion of everyone's overall relationship.
That's
you
not
cannot
true.
tell me
That's not true.
that sex is not huge.
Listen. You can disagree with me because it makes you feel better, but the bottom line is that it's not a major part.
And Morgan, I
No.
gotta be honest with you. I hate agreeing with that nigga, but he's entirely right. There are relationships
Oh
that are
my
thriving.
gosh,
No. Seriously, there are
Hold
relationships
up.
that thrive
Hold up, D'Amico.
that have nothing
You
to do
cannot
with
tell
sex.
me as men, you guys are
We
totally
are, though.
okay.
Oh no.
Not having
And
sex.
I don't agree with those relationships. I would never enter in one of those relationships, but they do exist, and there are relationships where they thrive on intimacy. They thrive on a connection through any number of things, whether a loss of a child, whether it be a loss of a limb, etc. So there are many different complicated relationships that thrive happily without sex. Now, I'm not going to speak for the fellas, even though I know their answer. Yes, for me, I definitely need sex, but it's different for every level, because Gent and Des need sex less in their happy relationship than I need in mine. I mean, you know what I mean? Everyone's different on that level. But yeah, if the fact that I need it more, it definitely means someone can do without it.
Jeezy, my issue is
Can
like,
do without it.
just to be fair to Morgan the MILF, I think that his intention was to get creative. He got creative, right? When he told her, "Hey, listen, you go out there and I'm supportive. You handle your business, whatever." I think the issue is that he said something. He basically wrote a check that his ass can't cash, and that was the issue. So he tried to get creative, but he couldn't sustain that because his ego wouldn't allow that. But I think regardless of the situation, but regardless of the situation, even if he got with a 55-year-old woman, it doesn't even matter. If he can't handle it, and she's still active, he's gonna run into these same issues with his ego. So he's gonna have to start coming to some realizations with himself, like, and being honest with himself, like, man, I'm not gonna be able to do this, man. I'm gonna have to get my rocks off in a different way and please my woman in a different way, so that everyone can be happy. So I got to put a little bit on him too, though, man, Trump. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's bad.
Absolutely killing. You understand how you guys get when you guys get backed up and you're not having sex. When you guys are not having sex, and I'm not talking about intimacy. I'm talking about straight up. We fucking. So right, exactly. So when you guys aren't having it, you guys perform differently. You're not able to do your jobs as clearly. All those other kind of things. And you're trying to tell me that if you went without sex in your marriage forever, that y'all gonna be faithful.
Yo,
how long did you go without sex on average? And what was the longest?
Well, see, that's the thing. I'm not saying that I had to go without it. What I'm saying,
the
quality of,
because we knew you was doing what you had to do. But
no. What I'm saying is the quality of it.
Okay.
So we're saying that the quality used to be at like 90%. The quality went down to like 5%. So I'm not right. I'm not getting out of it what I need out of it.
And he always made you come before then.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that'd be like right now knowing you're fucking whoever and you always come, and now all of a sudden she can't make you come. It'd be hard to say I want to see that hoe again. It'd be hard to say I want to have sex with her again.
But we're talking about, we're talking about your significant other. We're not just talking about some chick some thought you met. We're talking about your significant other. You telling me you're going to be faithful to that chick.
That's hard.
You ain't nuts.
That's hard too. You know what I mean?
Just
That's
saying
hard.
down there in the corner. Y'all real quiet now.
No,
I mean, so like, here's the thing. I heard everything you said, and it doesn't change anything that I said. Because we're making a lot of generalizations here. I think that people that need a lot of sex in a relationship, whether it's their reality because that's the only way they've ever felt in relationships, or because they need to justify some decisions they made in that relationship, it's much easier to say, oh, everybody needs this, so I'm not weird for feeling this way. When you have somebody tells you, well, like, nah, in that situation, I could probably work through it. Well, damn, how do you reconcile that if you can't, right? So I think it's easy to say, but I said it earlier, and Jezzy, and I know it hurt that motherfucker to back me up, but it's the truth. There's 7.5 billion people in the earth, right? There's hundreds of millions of relationships. There's people that's fucking 3 times a day. There's people that's fucking 3 times a week. There's people that's fucking 3 times a month, and there's people that's fucking 3 times a year, right? And I can find you examples of all of those relationships where the individuals are happy in that relationship. So
And that they never stepped out.
yeah. I think it's funny that you find that hard to believe, but yes, I think there are relationships just like that where people are happy and they haven't. Yeah, I absolutely believe that. I bet tons of money on it because people are not monolithic. So I think what's good for the goose ain't always good for the gander. So let me say this by saying I'm not attributing that to me because, as my compadres knows, that ain't the play here. I don't roll like that, right? So, but I'm trying to speak for the folks who aren't on here speaking for themselves, and I think there are plenty of people like that.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. I'll give you that.
I saw a couple in Publix today, lame ass white couple, bad body, both of them. I know they ain't fucking, and I know neither one of them cheating on each other because they happy to even have a motherfucker to talk to. So I'm certain they're thriving.
Listen, you don't know what they do when they get home. They may be having more sex than me and you.
And tell them
by her, and she looks like she's just happy she had a nigga say yes.
Listen, listen, the weirdest couples find each other, and it's hilarious to me, but they somehow or another, they make each other happy, you know? So
I believe you. But not this couple, though.
So you just gonna write their future for them, huh?
No, I mean,
Right.
It just didn't look good to me, man. It just didn't look good to me. Well, I'm actually not surprised by this. You know, coming into this, I was thinking, man, there's going to be so much deep shit behind it. But I
really
always believe to keep a woman totally faithful to you, you have to fuck the shit out of her regularly. And we've talked about this before, fellas. That shit is real. Playa said that shit. There's a lot of shit that they will take. You know what I mean? Infidelity, mistreatment, neglect here. But if you're fucking the shit out of her and she is coming on that dick consistently, at the end of the day, even when she's unhappy with you and she knows you ain't shit for her, she got to say, damn, I might not get dick like that again in my life. And that shit will make her stay around. That shit buy you a decade, nigga. If you that shit'll fuck around and buy you a decade. That shit'll fuck around and last so long, nigga. You like, goddamn, it took 10 years to end that relationship because the pussy was good. So a whole notion.
Why are you still talking to him? Well, he got good dick. Oh, okay, I understand.
Dog, come on, man.
She said, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally understand. They may not be shit, but the dick is so good. You're like, yeah. Your volume's off, sweetie. I can't hear you.
What that nigga? And he talking too.
My bad.
I know, right? He's giving up some good stuff.
I know, but I think what's crazy is like every woman talks about this. You know, if I got 80% of this and then 20 of this, I can be happy. And this dude could have the solid job. He cares for you. He's the best daddy in the world. He fits into your family so well. Where he's everyone's best friend. He cooks for you. He cleans for you. He does all these amazing. He spends quality time. He does all these amazing things, and he don't have good dick. It's a whole problem. But if we talked about this in the Power of D too. But you can have a person who has great dick to Jeezy's point and not have none of those other things, and he's gonna last way longer than the other dude. So this 80-20 rule sounds like I'm about to debunk this shit because it's stupid.
Hey, Gent, well, I'll say this, right? And this is probably some shit Jeezy would say too. But I think sometimes niggas get so educated and so sedity and stuff that they forget that human beings are on some primal shit sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. And everything that you said is accurate. and it's it's articulate and all those things. But at the end of the day, human beings are very carnal sometimes, and you just need to get. She wants. That's what it is. Them fucking degrees don't matter.
Speak to that point.
Goddamn job, none of that shit matters.
Let me tell you something that confirms that. Do a poll, all of you, every female you encounter, and ask them what their favorite sexual position is. And Morgan the Mill, if you tell me if I'm wrong, 9 times out of 10, and maybe I'm exaggerating because I'm Jezzy and I like to, but 7 to fucking 8 out of 10, most of those women are gonna say doggy style. They want to be fucked, nigga. They don't even want you to make love to them. They want you to fuck them. And any chick that gets comfortable, she wants you to push that limit, slap her in the face, choke her ass out, all of that shit. Nigga, that's not no love shit. That's some
pee on her chest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What?
Pee on her chest and stuff. Like
no.
Oh, hold on. We didn't say that.
No, we didn't.
No.
Okay. My bad. I thought we were going there. It just seemed like
No,
you were
we're
leading
not.
there.
No,
You're
never
not
go
leading there.
We never want to go there. You always want to go there.
Oh, I was just seeing what was going on. I thought we were going in that direction.
What chicks are like to be on their chest? Like, is that a thing? Like, what chicks are like?
There are chicks letting men pee in their mouths, suck them off, and they can come on their face. They're letting them do everything. You know what I mean? In one sitting.
Listen,
That's a lot.
Listen, I got cum in my hair the other day, and I was like, "What the fuck? Like, what am I supposed to do with this shit?" Right, I know.
Hey, let's take a moment.
I know.
Hold on, let's just take a second, fellas. Hold on. We just like to thank you, please. We just like to thank you on behalf of men worldwide. Thank you for taking that nut like a pro. Little cum in your hair. You're probably getting a couple inches in growth within the next month.
Biotin in there.
New growth.
You know what I mean?
Listen, we'll see. Next time you see me, it'll be down my back.
No, the bangs and your edges right. No, we know what it was. You understand?
Yes, I have edges. Yes, honey. Yes.
No, that dog. It's hilarious that this came down. You guys talk so much shit about me and sex, and yeah, I bring it up often because it does come into play in life. But it is so basic in your relationship in so many ways that the women that really loved you, and yes, that vibe, that intimacy, that fun times together, making her laugh, all that is important to her. But the reason why she really keeps you around, nigga, is because you can make her come, and that's just the facts.
You know, the other
take that shit out the equation, and let's see if shit the same. Take it out.
You're right.
Because now, women we're breadwinners. We're breadwinners. We already can have we can have children. We don't need you all the time. We can travel by ourselves. We can make each other happy. We have friendships. If you listen, I'm sorry, but the days of men being necessary for a life, it ain't really there anymore.
Only thing we got is our dick. And I tell you this, we're almost being replaced because those Tracy dog toys, they trying to replace a nigga, man. So y'all better
are you talking about
keep
the
y'all
one that does it by itself? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That
shit tough. That shit.
Listen,
losing their jobs.
There's a yo, the virileness of men is even kind of going down, man. You got a new kind of section of porn where you got motherfuckers letting other dudes screw their girl while they jack off next to her. Mm-hmm. Like, where they do that? That's
or she.
I mean, it's a new form of having a threesome. That's all.
No, that's not. No, that's not. That's watching another nigga fuck your girl. That's not.
They all got a category for that, Dan?
Hey, and did you see the one sucks his dick and then he kisses her? Nigga, that shit is disgusting. But talking about all tongue, nigga.
What's the name of the porn? I need to be able to look this up. What's the name of it? What type of it?
TUCKHOLD.
Yeah, you got specific with that. You had that and you spelled that out so perfectly. Yeah, that's a word.
One dude over there piping the girl down, the other dude over here like this. Look.
Yeah, that shit is weird, man. That shit is weird because especially that shit when they come on the pussy, then that nigga come in there and he eating the pussy and shit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's disgusting. That makes me want to vomit. I can't stand the smell of. Yeah, no, I'm good.
So let me ask you a question, Des. Just staying on the route of why women potentially cheat. Do you think that women outpace the relationship with over expecting things. So their expectations are so high that no one could possibly meet it. So therefore, they feel like it's a failure here, and it's a singular one thing that this other person may have, and because he has it, I'm gonna flex that way.
I can tell you, I don't think so. I haven't had those types of situations in really any of my relationships that I've been in. And I don't know that that's attributable to me necessarily, more so than it is that I'm pretty particular about the folks I get in relationships with. So if you got some pie in the sky ideas about what's going to happen, or you think something is about to be that I know isn't going to be, I'm pretty straightforward with that. I'm cool treating. I enjoy doing nice things, but like, I'm not caking no girl. Like, I'm not throwing you 100 just to get your nails. Like, we're not doing that. Nah, we gonna go to dinner, right? Like, so girls that like that thing, like, oh, she bought me some shoes, and like, I don't have those type of relationships with those girls. You know what I'm saying?
And women are cheating for a reason. So what do they want? You know, is it a man to shower them with gifts? Is it a man to shower them with cum? Preferably, I'm going for B, because I ain't buying you shit, ho. But if you find a nigga that would give you that, fine. If that's what you want, there's something out there for everyone, and there's a sucker to give it to you. I assure you. So when it comes to that, why women cheat, why men cheat, why anyone cheats, we want something different, and there's something obviously missing, and we got to get it. You know, sometimes I used to think that, and I've always said men and maybe even women cheat out of convenience sometimes, depending on who you are as a person. I think it goes beyond convenience. I think a part of us somewhere isn't getting something we want, and we hope to find it elsewhere. I really do. Even if it is, I know sometimes me when say, oh, it's just a nut. And for us, sometimes it can be. But I think overall, if you find a man that cheats regularly, I think he's looking for something, and I don't think it's just a nut.
But Jezzy, let me say this, and then I want to hear what our guest thinks. But I don't necessarily know that is the case. I think there are plenty of relationships where the man or the woman is providing the things that have been communicated to them to be essential in a relationship, at least from their perspective. And I think, and Gent said it earlier, motherfuckers cheat for ego, right? Like, it is, I want to feel desired. I've been in this relationship for this long, and I want to still feel like I got it. I think women go through that sometimes, right? The dude that was all over them, that foddered them with attention early in the relationship, is now so used to her ass, he barely say hi when he get home from work, right? Meantime, she run into the Publix, and she got niggas sweating her at the Publix, at the Walmart, at the mall, and she like, damn, so these motherfuckers are sweating me every day, and this motherfucker barely say hi. Okay, I got something for his ass. Like, I'm gonna get this attention. So, and that doesn't mean that, and you know what? I think I might have just made your point, because maybe that attention, not something tangible, but maybe that attention is what is not being provided. So maybe I made your point.
Yeah, I think you did, because you definitely were looking for something.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that, Morgan?
Well, I mean, that's what I said. It was definitely the ego being stroked. It was the ego being stroked, and who was being stroked by. And, you know, when you weigh things and you're like, man, this isn't happening. And he said that he would look the other way. And, oh, you know what? I think I found a chick's picture in his phone. Oh, he's cheating on me. He's lying to me now. It's like, all right, well, go do you. And then
do you still find him attractive physically?
Who, my husband? My ex-husband?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's nothing off to say about him other than the fact that he was a middle child. He was insecure. He had issues, and unfortunately, I just
knew that was Jezzy's problem. That was Jezzy's problem too.
I'm the middle child, and ain't nothing about me insecure.
Okay, all right. Well, nonetheless, he had those issues, and so I just felt good.
You know, I want to just say something before we close this up. But we talked about cheating and wanting attention from here and there, and I'm not feel like I'm getting it like I used to. Before a bitch allows themselves to feel that, man or woman, ask yourself, are you worthy of that attention? If you Morgan the MILF, you look like a fucking MILF. You look fuckable. Yeah. If you have 3 kids, I am grateful 4.
One,
I'm
two,
fucking
three,
grateful
four.
that you look so good with 4 kids. I'm gonna worship that ass on a regular basis. There's gonna be many mornings when I say, damn, girl, you have 4 of my fucking kids. Shit, I'm gonna put another one in you. And that's a Tuesday morning. You get what I'm saying? You look good. But there are a lot of men and women, and when I say men and women, I mean fucking women, ladies, who are out here feeling like, oh, I want to be showered with attention from my man, etc. Bitch, you are not worthy of that. Bitch, he ain't seen that version of who he fell in love with since 86. But you over here talking about showering, you want to, bitch, go home and say thank you for still fucking with me. That's what you should do, ho. Because the truth of the matter is, your slack ass don't deserve that fucking showering. Okay? God damn it. Exercise and then take a fucking shower. That's the shower you get, bitch. God damn it. Can you do that?
All right.
Megan, I feel like this is going on to like a personal note.
Yeah.
You all right?
Yep. He's not okay. He's not okay.
No, not okay. Okay. Whoa.
Jeezy's Nuggets. Jeezy's Nuggets.
That is a Jezzy nugget right there.
Man, they got real deep, real quick. Okay.
We appreciate you, Morgan DeMille, taking some time, chop it up with us and share about your life.
You're very,
Gent, you know where they can find us, IG.
Yeah. Hey, find us at Brunch with Boys on IG. Hit us on Facebook. We're on all platforms, podcast platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, and a bunch more. Huge YouTube presence. Hey, please subscribe, man. Episodes weekly, and we can just gonna keep climbing on this, man, because there's so much more for us to dig into.
Let me say something, Gent, too. Hey, for all our international fans, if you want to get us out to you, work with us. We're willing to travel. So holler at us. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate all of our listeners, and we appreciate everybody who takes the time out of the day to hear a little bit about what we got to say. So appreciate
and thanks
y'all.
again, Morgan DeMille, for stopping by. We
Appreciate you, Morgan.
you're welcome, you guys. Thank you. I had fun.
Hercules.
Thank you.
Bye.